Go. We are live, coming to you from the studio. This is this week's episode of Jawin with Jack. I'm the Jack you're looking for. And joining me this week is my good friend, Critheads Gaming Company Limited on Twitter. Or Tim, as normal people call him. But normal is boring, so we're going to call him Crit. Crit, man, welcome to the show. I'm glad to have you here.
Thanks. It's an honor to be here. I'm happy to be here. This is awesome.
Fantastic. Now, in addition, I know you from X. That's how we met. And you also do a YouTube channel, do you not?
That's correct. I do.
And, and up on your channel, you're currently doing live stream. There's other stuff, but the main focus of the live stream is a live play test of the Aoethera module that we're going to be talking about this evening.
Yes, sir. Yep. That's and actually kind of how that YouTube channel started was I got tired of spending the whole next day after a session writing out my notes. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to record it and post it to YouTube.
Brilliant. That's actually great because I've said that myself. There are previous campaigns that are my last campaign. I wish we had taped it or something like that. You know, it was way back in the early 2000s before we had. And I was a neo-Luddite myself back in those days. Technology scared me. I didn't want much to do with it.
Fair.
But, man, so my normal first question, how I like to start it with everybody is, how did you get started in the role-playing game hobby? What was your first game, and what was that experience like for you?
Okay, so this is where it might blow a few minds. The way I got started was actually in high school. I want to say it was edition 3.5. And my brother was actually the GM. So it was just one-on-one sessions, just him and I. And life kind of took us our own ways as we grew up, as it tends to do. Brothers go their own way. And I never really found another group for a long, long time. So I kind of supplemented with playing like World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy 14, MMOs. Then the wife and I wound up moving to a small town years and years later, and there was nothing to do, not a thing. And so I started to get the itch to play some D&D. So I picked up the I picked up the 5e starter kit and talked the wife into trying it out.
About how long ago was this?
So this was about a year and a half ago.
Wow! And, so, like you've gotten back into play as recently as a year and a half ago.
That's correct, and that was my first time GMing.
Believe it or not, first dungeon master. So there was a time gap. You started in high school. Do you remember what it was? Was it 4th edition or 3rd edition back then?
I want to say it was 3.5.
That would make sense. I don't know your actual age, but you do seem slightly younger than me.
I'm 41. Mm-hmm.
Okay, slightly younger than me. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
I don't feel terribly old. I just feel kind of old now. So you got back in with 5th edition in the last year and a half. And in that last year and a half, you've taken on relearning the game, becoming the DM, and you've now published your first module independently.
That's correct. Book 1 of the first module, anyway. So, and here's kind of how that went. When I was getting the itch to play Dungeons and Dragons, I didn't really have anyone to play with. So I started writing a fantasy book. What DM hasn't done that? Right?
Guilty. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm there.
But it wasn't quite scratching the itch. So
I understand that.
Mm-hmm. And the starter kit is Dragon of Ice Spire Peak, I think it is. The wife didn't really get into it because it was just one-on-one. So we
glad to see you, and Patty. Since I'm yelling people out,
welcome, guys. But so she wasn't really into the official D&D module, so I was like, okay, well, let me gather up some friends. We'll play online because we're all kind of spread out everywhere. And you know what? This book that I've been writing, I'm going to convert that into a campaign, and that's what we're going to play.
Very nice. I like it. I'm a big fan of homebrew myself. That's what I prefer to run in, and I do love seeing homebrews spring up into an actual product. The Pun King. Watch it. He's going to nail us with something. The party is on Rumble. Rumble Stillskin. So, what was it that was lacking in basic D&D for your wife? What was it? The steampunk aesthetic that you brought in with Aoethera, or is there more to it that it was missing?
Well, she's got a little bit of adult ADD, so sitting for long periods of time doesn't really work out too well for her.
Okay.
But I think the biggest thing was it was just her and I. And I'm one of those people, I don't like to, halfway do things.
Okay.
So if I was going to wrangle a group together and be the GM for a D&D group, I wanted to make sure that I knew the lore. And I knew that I didn't have the time to dig into the Sword Coast and learn everything that I've forgotten over the years, much less everything that's come out since then. So that was kind of another driving factor behind, you know what, let's just homebrew a world that I do know because I made it,
Yes. I love that. Well, and that makes the most sense. Whatever it is that the best is what you should do. And there was a long time where I used like Forgotten Realms as a published setting in the back of the first and second edition days. And for a long time, I felt like I knew that setting better. But I realized over time that I wasn't using the Forgotten Realms so much as I was taking a relatively blank part of the map and just building all my own stuff there anyway. So that's when it was around 2000 that I officially built a homebrew setting and with a full map and all that kind of stuff like that. But, I'm way behind the curve you've set here because it's been a long time and I haven't put pen to paper and made a module out of it yet. So
you should.
I'm not jealous. I am totally not jealous.
You should. I mean, it's been a labor of love. I can't say that it hasn't been a lot of work because, being perfectly honest, I was a little bit lazy with my group and I would just find random maps online and download them. Or find random
I hear nothing wrong.
creature art.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Well, when you go to actually sell a module, if you're going to put maps into it, you kind of need to have your own. So
you kind of do. You kind of do.
Yeah, that's what's been taking the longest. So.
Oh yeah, and Scott, good to see you here, my brother. Unfortunately, even when I write the settings, I still forget what I wrote or get confused about rewrites. I've been there, and that's why and that's one of the things that helps me keep it straight is I don't write out full things. I'm not doing full sentences and organizing it right. It's a huge pile and collection of notes, very disparate notes, and I go flip it there. Wait a minute, I know when we were in that town and what was happening, and I kind of go back through the notes and find, oh yeah, now I remember that guy's name. I remember what we were doing there.
Oh yeah.
So that's notes help me better than any sort of writing things up or so. But again, I sympathize with your wife. I do believe I'm a victim of ADHD myself because I've been learning a little bit about that in the recent years, and I'm going, gosh, all of this sounds really familiar.
Yep.
Scotty, get yourself a word anvil or obsidian portal to keep track of what you write. Well, and that is good. I haven't done word anvil either because it's almost as hard for me to focus in as much to use a web portal. Do you have a preferred software that you use?
So I have played around with World Anvil, But honestly, I'm a little bit of a grognard when it comes to writing too, but I like to just kind of reference what I've already written myself, be it Microsoft Word or just a scratch pad, what have you. And actually, funny story, the wife and I spent about 15 minutes trying to come up with a name for a character, an NPC, in book 2 of Aoethera, which I'm currently writing. And about a day or two later, I needed to go back into book 1 to reference something I had written because I forgot what it was exactly.
Yes.
And while I was flipping through book 1, I discovered, oh, wait, I already named that NPC. The NPC just wasn't in book 1 yet. Only his name is. So
that's hysterical. How did you resolve it? Did you change his name, change it back, or
I changed it in book 2, so it'll be consistent with book 1.
Okay. Here's what I would do. Trade secret DM as a longtime DM. Use the new name you came up with too and make it a fake identity that he's maintaining in a different location to increase the level of intrigue around the NPC.
See, that's a really good trick, but it wouldn't have worked for this NPC. This NPC is actually the head chieftain of the orc tribe that's in Undgar.
Jeremy says, if only we could upgrade our brain storage space, and I'm sure Elon is working on it. Just have faith.
Yep. Give him time.
I can't wait for cybernetics. And it's going to be all Apple. You know it is. Everything else will just look like shit. No, I just want something that looks like a regular arm. Like, I don't want this steampunk extravaganza. No offense to Aoethera.
Oh, none taken. I'll take the steampunk extravaganza all day.
Okay, good. Well, then you'll stand out at conventions.
Absolutely.
Okay, now back to Aoethera. I was reading up on it a bit, and it is definitely not not laid out in the way I'm used to when it comes to modules. I noticed in the intro you explicitly stated, I think it was every 2 chapters, the players will level up, and they'll be I think you said level 8 by the end of the book.
So level 5 by the end of book 1.
Pardon me. Thank you.
Yep. And level 10 as far as Shadow Dark goes by the end of book 2. So Aoethera Cataclysm is supposed to take a player from level 1 all the way to max level 10.
Wow. So. Wow. In your playtesting, have you been using Shadow Dark as the base or 5e as the base and still capping it at 10th?
So that's kind of the trick. We started off with 5e. So I'm not throwing my players a curveball. I decide to keep it with 5e. And we're going to level 20. So essentially, we're just leveling up twice as fast as we would be if we were playing Shadow Dark.
Okay.
Now, the whole reason I didn't write for 5e or 5.5e, I guess we're calling it now, is because of the open gaming license. So Wizards of the Coast, they do their thing. They've done it a couple of times. I don't want to get dragged into that. So I'm avoiding it.
I support that decision. I do think what the WotC tried with the OGL stuff is not good.
Yeah.
And even overstepped into things that are borderline illegal from commentary I've heard. But again, I have not been a terribly big WotC fan since 3.5, and even by 3.5, I was kind of done with it. The luster is worn off. I'm a sucker. I'm going to buy every edition that has those magic words on it, Dungeons with that stupid ampersand. I'm going to buy every core set, but I'm a collector as much as anything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's now we were talking a little bit before, and you're much more experienced in 5e. That's what you've been doing most of your gaming in, particularly with this campaign. From what you've seen and heard so far, or even if you don't have the books, what's your take on the newest edition, 6th edition, 2024? I don't even know what to call it anymore.
Yeah, so I've just been referring to it as 5.5, but because that's kind of what it feels like.
See, now my buddy
Um,
Scotty, who's in the chat, has said no, that's not fair. Because this is the jump is way different. It's way different going from 5e to 2024 than it is going from like 3 to 3.5. That when you
okay.
consider the differences, he says no, it's like a whole new edition when you consider the scope of the differences on in everything.
Okay.
So
Well,
it's
we'll
fundamentally the same, but
we'll definitely lean on his experiences then, because I do not have the book. I can only really go off of what I've seen, and what I've seen isn't really representative of any kind of major shift. So,
yes, I would say so. There are the devil's in the details, I think. But again, I have minimal experience with both of them. I've kind of like skimmed the books, the core books for each. Haven't played much 5e and barely touched 2024 other than a few solo sessions.
yeah.
So yeah, my minimal experience seems they seem fundamentally okay. I feel like I could run a fun game with them, but other people I've said, like in the 5e world, the power creep as you go up in level seems to get a kind of egregious. Is that your experience with that system?
Oh yeah, yeah. Not only is that my experience, but that's actually a major rub of mine. Um, I can understand from a player perspective the allure of becoming essentially an immortal superhero by level 12, we'll say.
Okay.
Uh, but maybe it's the GM in me, maybe it's the storyteller in me, maybe it's just the gamer in me. It feels like there's no risk at that point. And if there's no risk, how could it possibly be fun? Right? So, um, needless to say, when the playtest wraps, my table's going to be switching over to Shadow Dark. So,
Nice. So, what is it that appeals to you about that specifically? I mean, Kelsey's objectively awesome, right?
mhm.
So that's definitely, and I agree. I kind of love that system, and it's even got certain intangibles like the very presentation, the size of the book, going in its favor.
Yeah. So it's the simplicity that really grabs me. The simplicity and the fact that it's not bloated at all. Um, character death is just as possible at level 9 as it is at level 2. Versus like going back to the 5e rub. I was telling you a little bit before the interview came up, like rogues, for example, in 5e.
Okay, yeah, lay that
Man,
on me.
yeah, if you build them right, if you're like really diving into the book and you're building them right, by the time a rogue hits 5th level, they can be practically untouchable. And it's just ridiculous. Versus the thief in Shadow Dark, that's not the case. They still carry plenty of risk.
Yeah, and a simple thing I really particularly enjoy about Shadow Dark is the simple on all the thieving type stuff, the sneaking, picking locks, and what have you, looking for traps, disarming traps. They just plain get advantage on it. So everybody can try that, but the thieves get advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And that's such
Yep.
a simple but effective way to reinforce the core competency of thieves. I'm a veteran. I've hated thieves, but I started in the editions where playing a first level thief was, a suicide mission.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. So I'm with you. I really enjoy that aspect as well. But what really calls me, what's really getting me excited these days about Shadow Dark is the fact that you know you're not driven to specialization. You
Yes.
roll your dice, and let's say you're a thief, and you end up with charisma as your highest score. Now you need to figure out how to use your charisma to get locks open instead of just, dexterity, lock picking skill. So now it's like, okay, is there a guard? Maybe I can sweet talk him into opening the store.
I'm sorry, I got stuck in the comments for a second.
Yeah, that one about Monopoly grabbed my eye.
Yeah.
If there's no risk, maybe it is Monopoly.
Yes. steampunking laying on there. And it seems to be that Jeremy and Scotty are saying, Jeremy says that, he says it's comparable. It is as much of a change between 3 and 3.5 as there is between 5 and 2024. So he's saying he considers it comparable as a half edition. But Scotty goes on to say, you'll need the 2014 Player's Handbook. Yeah, that I notice is there are definitive things I could do making characters in 5th edition that I immediately found I couldn't remake those characters in the new one. It was just literal certain neat builds I thought of that I couldn't do.
Yeah.
I had a quick shout out, my bro, Dunder Moose. We just had a great he was in that mothership session I was talking about Saturday night, run by Scudder from Mike, the Random Tables crew, and it was sweet. It was a great conclusion, and we all decided to sacrifice ourselves. All right, well, the doctor decided to sacrifice all of us for the good of humanity, and we all just decided to be okay with it once we heard his reasoning.
Okay.
Great session. Great session, though. We played the module, Another Bug Hunt, and concluded it last night after a bit of a hiatus.
Okay, very nice.
So now you have also mentioned in some of our exchanges that Aoethera is you have a Castles and Crusades version?
Yes, I do. So for Aoethera, the setting of it is how do I put this? I don't want to say that it's grim. I don't want to say that it's dark. It's realistic, I would say. If you think back to how brutal life was in, let's say, the 7th century, that's where Aoethera's at. So, with that in mind, I wanted to work with classic gaming systems. And the top 2 is Shadowdark and Castles and Crusades. And
can't dispute that. I agree with that.
Yeah, and Castles and Crusades, I absolutely love it. I was actually I was posting back and forth with the gentleman that did the cover art for Aoethera, and I recommended those systems to him, and I gave him a quick rundown. And the way I kind of explained it is, Shadowdark is the system for you if you want a old school, open kind of system where you're free to use the stats you have to the best of your ability. Versus Castles and Crusades, it's the D&D 5e that we should have gotten.
Yes. And again, one of the anecdotes about the game is that, when 3rd edition came around, Gary wasn't a big fan of it. And then Castles and Crusades happened, and he said, yeah, that's what I think 3rd edition should have been. So that was Gary's chosen edition by the end. And again, I can't pass up an opportunity to mention it again. But for those of you who don't know, I am in the Castles and Crusades Player's Handbook. I'm one of the credited play testers on the first page, the inside cover. So look at that, Jack Grunk McCarthy, and I still have that character sheet. It's the banner at the top of my profile on X. So there you go. Yes, and I agree.
Oh, that's awesome.
Siege system is so cool. That is probably the central thing I like about Castles and Crusades.
Yep.
Now, knowing both systems to a passing degree. Oh, one comment I got to throw out about Shadowdark too is the random table that you roll on when you advance and level, so you don't exactly know what you get, is something that seems so obvious in retrospect. I'm like, God, why didn't I ever think of that? Because the same thrill that you get for, we got loot and there, get to roll on the magic item table that existed in the old school games. She built that into the character advancement, and I love that. So, like you said, you don't know exactly what kind of thief you're going to be by the time you get to 4th or 5th level. Maybe you rolled charisma bonuses the whole time.
Yep.
And
that's when the creativity must flow.
So Now, knowing that there are some basic differences between Shadow Dark and Castles and Crusades, siege engine, stuff like that, how easy was it to convert from one to the other? I definitely think it's neat that you're doing it in a system agnostic approach, but that is fraught with peril because not all D20 OSR type systems are built equal, as it were.
Well, that's why I have 3 variants out. So I have native to Shadow Dark, I have native to Castles and Crusades, and I do have a true system agnostic variant. Um, so the Castles and Crusades, and honestly, the Shadow Dark, they weren't overly difficult to write for, and a big reason for that is because I have the player's handbooks, I have the monster manuals for both systems.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's a simple matter of finding a comparable creature, we'll say, and making tweaks to give it that Aoethera flavor. So that wasn't too difficult. Now
Mm-hmm.
for the system agnostic, what I did is I just went with a simple 1 to 10 scale of 1 to 10, with 5 being average. And what that is that's more or less based on your party's level. So let's say we're trying to figure out. Let's say you like the Year Zero engine from Free League, right?
Okay.
So that's all D6s. Sixes are a hit, ones are a miss, right? And you subtract the ones from the sixes and see where you're at. So on a scale of 1 to 10, what is this bad guy's health supposed to be? Well, I've got it on a 5. That means average.
Oh,
So
okay.
for a Year Zero engine, your average baddie at a low level probably has 2, maybe 3 hit points. That's it.
Right. Okay.
So,
Okay, that's simple, and I like that thought. Because historically, system agnostic things tend to not do as well. There's very few like big classic hits that you can name that started out as a system agnostic module or something like that.
mhm.
So, and part of that is, well, you kind of got to give it some stats, or otherwise it's just it's just a fiction book. It's an atlas for a fictional place.
Yeah.
So you got to give it some stats. So I like the idea that you're putting down that you have sort of a generic byline that serves as the guidelines for whatever stats you have. When
hmm
it came to writing it, did you start with that system agnostic document, or did you write like the D&D version for, or well, whichever, Shadow Dark, and then convert it over to Castles and Crusades? Did you do the system version first or the system agnostic version first?
Yeah. So honestly, it was a little bit of back and forth. I started with the system agnostic, and then I was kind of like, well, maybe I should go with an established system first. And so then I started. I ported everything over to Shadow Dark, and I started writing for Shadow Dark. Then I got with the Troll Lords, and got everything I needed to be a third party publisher. And then I got done with the Shadow Dark version and put together the Castles and Crusades version. And at the end of that, I was like, maybe I should do system agnostic. So that's when I kind of delayed the launch of Shadow Dark and Castles and Crusades so that I could quickly port it back to system agnostic, which I started
Okay.
on in the first place.
Right, but and that makes I wondered it would make sense to start there specifically because, as you said, you were working on this as a novel, as a work of fiction before it became
Mhm.
a gaming setting.
Yeah, and my writing process for that, my wife made a lot of fun of me for it because I was more or less playing solo. It's like okay, so in the
All
book,
right, now I take issue with your wife. How dare she? How dare she? Solo gaming is a long and honorable tradition. We'll continue to
right?
this day, right? Yeah, I do. I solo game all the time. Okay, now that
So
that's off my chest, please go on.
yeah, so there was a fight scene that I was writing for the book, and essentially one of the main characters, he was a dragonkin named Essentia, which in Aoethera was Elven for nameless. And the whole reason he was nameless, some backstory stuff, real quick. He was more or less abandoned at birth, and he was found by elves in the Feywild Marsh and raised by them. But the Dragonkin are hyper violent. So their whole culture is imagine a mashup between Viking and samurai culture. So very disciplined, but very violent. So by the time Essentia is like 8 years old, he's
kind of Klingonish.
Yeah, you could say that. Absolutely. So by the time Essentia is 8 years old, he's bigger than all the elves. He's dangerous. So they send him north to live with the humans because they can't stay with the elves anymore. And he winds up more or less becoming a squire for a lord, who then trains him in military drill and combat. And so fast forward, now he's one of this lord's top guys. And they were being ambushed by orcs. So the way that I was writing it, I was literally solo playing the combat and then writing what the dice were telling me was happening.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Yes, I have had many solo games turn into writing exercises and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
I love that process. Well, and that's exactly some that when people talk about that process as a writer, sometimes it's like, well, how do you describe a battle? Like, what's going on? Well, this is how you come up with a blow by blow. And you embellish and add detail as needed. It's the foundation of it all. Now, Michael Dale, he's questioning. He wants to know how you got that ship and forest in your basement.
So the forest I planted about 20 years ago from fast-growing trees. I'm not sponsored. The airship, you just let a little bit of the gas out of the envelope.
Yet. Well, I'm open. Email me, fast-growing trees. But yeah, and I think it's very presumptuous to think that you're broadcasting from your basement. This could be a closet for all you know, Michael. Or that's the real background. And he looks fuzzy because of magic.
Exactly.
Very foggy.
Yeah, magic and steampunk, they don't necessarily mix well. What can I say? There's a little aether distortion.
Bushido. Oh, Kung King, you hurt me. And I know I'm happy to hear that.
So, along those lines, when book 2 comes out, you'll find out that this is actually, Cataclysm is actually a Dragonkin-centric adventure module. And so a little bit of info, which is all in book 1, is the Dragonkin, they essentially do have a Valhalla. So their belief is that when they die, they go to their version of Valhalla while they wait for the elven goddess Haley to give them the go-ahead to evade the trickster god's realm to free Ivor, the dragon that is credited with building Aoethera.
Okay, so this adventure module is tying into how the very world came to be.
Mm-hmm.
And this begs a question. I'm not steeped in the lore of the world. So, what differentiates a dragonkin from a dragonborn? How are they different? How are they the same?
Kind of really depends on the table, honestly. I've seen plenty of people that they allow their dragonborn to have wings and flight speeds. Dragonkin don't have that.
No flying.
Right. No flying.
Recommended especially for beginning GMs.
Right. Another part, I would say the biggest differentiation would be the culture. Um, but again, that can end up uh, different for every table. Um, so for me, the Dragonkin, like I said, they're a mashup between samurai and Viking. Most Dragonborn that I've seen in the 5e scope of things, they're, man, I don't even know what culture to compare them to.
Well, I
Um,
think
maybe Welsh.
sadly, I think they are victim of the self-referential um, issue that plagues the modern editions, such as like it. I've seen other people discussing in the webosphere about how original Dungeons and Dragons was heavily influenced by all the fiction that was written in listed in Appendix N, and
Mhm.
the various things about that. And that makes a lot of sense, and that's the stuff that informed the game and made it something that uh, introduced the kind of tropes and stuff that we're used to, even if it was badly adapted, like the Vancian magic.
Mhm.
Now, um, consequently, next the newer editions, as it was pointed out by other people on the interwebs, that the newer editions are referencing previous editions, right? So the new rule books are more heavily influenced by the Forgotten Realms novels that came out in the 80s and 90s than they are any of the Appendix N fiction.
Mhm.
And that, in some ways that makes sense to me, really accounts for the tonal shift that has dampened my personal liking of the franchise in the modern day.
Mhm. Yeah. 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 It seems to me that modern franchise is trying to get away from cultural distinctions. Um, and me, I'm trying to embrace cultural distinctions. I want the orcs to feel different from the elves, to feel different from the dwarves, to feel different from the dragonkin. So, I mean, it's a large world out there, and these populations have been mostly
Absolutely.
isolated. So,
Absolutely. And that makes so much sense to me, too. The point and the real failing of like elves and dwarves in other editions is that they just feel like humans with pointy ears, or short humans with beards and Scottish accents.
mhm.
It Not as much thought has been put into the alien culture and nature of elves and dwarves as the basis, the standpoint, but all the other races. And then without even exploring or doing those ones real justice, in the expanding fifth edition collection, I hear there's like what, 50, 60 playable races available.
I was not aware of that. Whew.
Right. That's commentary from some other YouTube video, I think. So, I can't swear to it, but I think that was something I heard someone say, is that if you use all the fifth edition books that have come out up to date up to this point, there's 50 or 60 playable races. So,
Yeah,
and
and you,
yeah, it's really hard to really do justice to a handful of cultures, let alone 50 or 60 of them. I mean,
mhm.
anthropologists study one or two cultures and make a career out of it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you might be able to sprinkle in a little of this, a little of that, but you're not going to be able to get in depth. And that's kind of why Aoethera is like it focuses on just a few, and the three primary are human, elf, dwarf. The rest of them are kind of a rarity.
Yep. Yep. Oh, and Tag jumps in here with a good comment to highlight that he ran a 2-year Axe campaign and he didn't allow them to play anything but humans. Really helps build the differences between them. And I do think that that is an important and a useful tool for the DMs who want to do it. Run a human centric campaign and make everybody play a human. It really does do something for the nature of your game world. Axe, though, does stand out to me as an example of a game designer and author really doing a good faith attempt at exploring Elvish and Dwarvish history and culture. He's got the elf book that's forthcoming. I think the Kickstarter is still open, you know, and he has previously done a Dwarven book, and that's somebody who I think has done a good faith attempt to really provide you with stuff to really get into dwarves and play them. Might not be quite as successful, but even in second edition in those days, they gave us like the dwarf and elf handbooks as part of the splat books, and there was legit. It wasn't all a hit, but there was some good stuff in each of them, and it was a good faith attempt to provide players more than just the description and the player's handbook and the monster manual for what does it mean to be a dwarf? Well, read the player's handbook, read the monster's manual. Once you read those two entries, that's all you have, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and actually, that's kind of funny that you mentioned that, because I've been kicking around an Aoethera lore drop idea myself. So when I finish with book 2 and I get that off to the races, what I'm thinking about doing is writing specific lores for the different races, the different locations, the different histories, and probably offering them maybe 99 cents for each individual one, and then put them all together and offer like a hardcover, softcover version of those for, a little bit more, obviously, because there's costs involved there.
Right.
But
printing costs and so on. So, and that's an interesting thing. I wonder. I think I've seen other people try that on Drive Through RPG. Is much more modular, smaller items. So hey. Spend $1. Here's a resource that's going to go to your game. How big do you think a resource needs to be to justify $1? What size are you contemplating with those releases?
Honestly, like I said, I'm still kind of kicking the idea around. It's still kind of brewing in my head. But it's one of those. Well, if I feel that I haven't written enough, that it's too small, well, maybe I'll just put it up for free. If it's something that I can knock out in an afternoon, I'm not going to charge for that. Why would I?
Okay.
But yeah, if it's something that it takes me a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe I'll ask $1. So
okay.
Yeah. But like I said, it's something I'm just kind of kicking around. But modular, since you mentioned that, that really is the direction that I'm going with this. So my general concept is Aoethera is going to be an ever evolving world, and what I want to do is, when there's a large world changing event, that's when these large epic campaigns that span 2 or 3 books are going to come out. But in between those, there's 2 things that I want to do. I want to do what I'm calling seasons. So like season 1. And that's just a random collection of short missions that'll maybe get you a level or 2 playing it, right? So I want to do a collection of those. But then I also, I kind of want to do some West March, some official West March materials. And I'm thinking about calling those factions. So as you play,
nice.
As you play Cataclysm, it's in the lore. During the Great War, there were basically 2 factions. You had the human and dwarven alliance, and then you had an alliance with the elves and the orcs. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for factions. And all of these different little missions that you can do, these little factions, these little seasonal uh, missions.
Okay.
They all combine in the way that you want to make your own epic story between the next Cataclysm or whatever brings us into season 2, whatever epic campaign. So after Cataclysm, you sit down, you make another character for Aoethera, and for, just a couple of bucks, you pick up a smaller little mission that's maybe, 50 pages instead of 100, or maybe even less, maybe 30 pages. And it takes you up a couple of levels. And let's say you're going into a wizard's tower and you're hunting for a special relic, which I already know what it is, but I'm trying to be vague. So then you string that with a totally different quest, and you just keep stringing these quests together to make your own epic campaign, and they all ultimately affect the world.
Got it. And so it's almost like there are different modules, individual adventures, or locations to explore, tasks to accomplish.
Yep.
But they can be completed in different order. So we have much more of a sandbox experience, which enhances replayability too. So, everybody's experience going through Aoethera is going to be different because they could do everything in different orders.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. In any order that you would like. And, when we get to that point, then if you see one and it just doesn't grab your interest, you just don't care about that specific relic, maybe you want to go hunt some kind of animal, go to that module instead.
Okay. And Jeremy asks, Aoethera, it's actually spelled Aotheera.
AOE.
Oh, AOE, pardon me. And I think I spelled it right. If you watch the ticker as it's going by, there's info for where to find Crit on X, on YouTube, and also a link to drive-through. The link that's displayed here I think you told me it'll take you to the version selection page, so that way you can choose whether you want the Shadow Dark, the Castles and Crusades, or the agnostic version.
That's correct. And yes, book 1 of 2 is out already. I'm still writing book 2. I'm probably about halfway through writing it now. But of course, I'm making all of these maps, and every chapter gets at least a couple of maps. So that kind of slows me down a little bit. Book 1 itself has 42 maps total, 23 pre-generated NPCs, all the lore that you need, and a full bestiary in the back. So everything you need to play, it's there.
Now, you're using map software. What's it called? Congregate?
Or Incarnate.
Incarnate. Yeah. Okay, got it. It's some sort of weird thing. Okay. Yep. And that's one I'm not as familiar with. And okay, thank you for calling that out, Jeremy. We'll make sure to get some links, and we'll do them. We'll do them here, and we'll also. Can I drop this one in here? The one. Link address. I'm going to drop this in the chat here, and we'll see if everybody blocks. I have dropped it in the chat. Hopefully, it doesn't cut that off because I'm the host of the show. But there we go. That's a link to his publisher page, and that'll allow you to select the version you want.
Let me see. Let me get that pulled up again.
And actually, while we're here,
let's see. So what I always end up doing is going to drivethroughrpg.com and then just searching Critheads Gaming.
Also,
Critheads, one word. But here is the link. Let me copy and see if I can paste. Never really played around with Restream before. This is a little bit new to me.
No problem.
Here we go. I can put it in the
also
private
am
chat.
not terribly experienced. All right. Can you see my screen? Is that up on the screen now? All right.
I do see that, yes.
All right, good. Yeah. So this, hey, look at that. We're going to follow that publisher.
Oh, well, thank you.
And here we go. All right. So this is the page, and this is what it looks like, and this is how you spell it. It's all one word, but the H is capital. Heads, it's plural because he's got multiple heads. And we've got the Aoethera Cataclysm. Do we have any print-on-demand options for it?
So, funny that you mentioned that. Print-on-demand options are on the way, and in fact, we have something special.
That would be a bona fide segue.
These are the proofs.
This is a John with Jack exclusive, and the first time we've had an unboxing on the show. Drum roll, Critheads, let's have that. Let's take a look at these beautiful books.
If they're not as beautiful as they need to be, I am going to cuss. Just letting you know right now.
Fucking A.
All right.
All right. And Jeremy is telling us the link works. Excellent.
Oh, okay. Whew. I don't know. Are you guys ready for this?
Yes. I'm going to see if I can maximize your window. Nope, that's not it.
I'll give you a second.
Aha! There we go. I have maximized you.
First up, hardcover, Castles and Crusades. You know what?
That looks impressive. Even backwards, it looks impressive.
Let me turn this virtual background off.
And one of the settings in here allows you to revert the ellipses in the upper right-hand corner. Let me see if it can. There we go.
There it is.
Aoethera Cataclysm. My, that is a very handsome-looking hardbound book. And look at that little flaming poo emoji that I've come to admire so much.
Gotta love it, right?
Brilliant. That looks great. All right. Everybody share this stream. Tell everybody about it. This is a book. We're first time. This
is one of our maps here.
Oh, awesome.
The very first mission. You start off on an airship.
I love it. More maps. And Jeremy was saying he likes Incarnate too. He's familiar with it, and that's his favorite mapping software. Oh, excellent.
Yeah, it's easily the one I am most familiar with. Now, I have since then picked up, what is it? I can't remember the name of it now. It is Dungeon Alchemist. Picked that up on Steam. So I'm going to play around with that and see what all I can do.
Velma's impressed. Really cool looking.
Yeah, so here's the Shadow Dark version.
Oh, wow. Man, that looks really good.
That does. Now, if you don't want a hard-covered splat book, we also offer soft cover.
Cover. Neat.
And
wow, that looks great.
These might actually be the best way to go if you really like quality. I went for the premium colors on this.
Wow.
So there's that same map again. And
now it's slightly pixelated for me, of course, because I'm getting it through the camera, but it looks like that has preserved the integrity of the color art to a good degree. A lot of other PODs I've seen have not been as quality.
Yeah. No, these are looking great. I say I'm satisfied.
Hey, wait a minute.
Satisfied.
Patty says, did you talk about the collab with White Shark Magazine? Great place to get a taste of Aoethera in free magazine. You're in Sharky Mag?
I am, yes. I'm one of the original contributors. So, no, we have not mentioned that yet. But as kind of a marketing campaign, we'll say, I went ahead and I wrote a free little one-shot that kind of introduces you to Aoethera. So,
excellent. And I'm back. Man, that's fantastic. I'm so excited to have an unboxing like that on the stream. Now, here's a question for you.
Yeah.
For you, Tim, how does it feel to be holding a physical book that you wrote and has your name and logo on it? What does that feel like?
It does not feel real. I'm probably gonna curl into bed after this with these books and just kind of coddle them for a little while and maybe swaddle them up in a blanket.
I do not blame you. Way. Oh man, that is fantastic. Though so I appreciate that. I have written a novel and went through this whole process myself. And when I finally got the my copies in the mail, it was surreal is the best word for it. There's nothing like quite holding a book that you wrote in your hand. And I think that's something that so many people here in the stream are content creators themselves, and people who listen and other people that I talk to. And that's the kind of moment that I wish for everyone to have, that moment of creative success.
Yeah, it's wow.
And now it's been out for about 6 weeks now. It's been in PDF form up to this point, and you'll be approving these in the near future. How has the response been so far? Has it been crickets? Are you getting good feedback, bad feedback? Are people saying, "Who are you and why are you in my house?" How's it going so far?
So I got to be honest with you. I've been a little scared to check.
Okay. Okay.
I'm doing my best to market it, and nobody has said "bugger off, shut up."
Good.
If
no
anything,
news is good news. News is good news. Good.
If anything, I'm a little surprised that there's still people that haven't heard of it yet. I'm constantly just putting it out there. I'm posting about it at least once a day, usually 2 or 3 times a day, and there's still people that they're not seeing the posts. So
yes, well, unfortunately, that visibility is a struggle. It seems on every social media platform, just because I can say that from person. There's people that I interact with all the time. I love all their posts and stuff like that. Personal friends of mine. And for some reason, they still just never show up in my timeline unless I go and specifically ask for notifications from them. And then I see all of it. So I've been finding that like for as difficult as it is, and I can't speak to it. I don't know anybody who has, but Elon has given us that little promote button up at the upper right. Throw a little cash in it if you got a marketing budget.
Yeah, I did do that actually. I spent $100, and one of my posts is supposed to get something like 10,000 interactions.
Oh,
and
okay.
Again, I've been kind of scared to go back and look at it.
Well, and you know what, dude? If nothing else, it'll be awesome to hear from you about that, just because we don't know anybody who's doing that stuff. So we need to hear the results. Like if it's a smashing success for you, I want to hear about it. And if it's a, any kind of numbers that you're willing to put to it, well, I spent X number of dollars and I can directly attribute X number of sales to it. And, and say, oh, Patty said, don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, that's kind of my gut reaction too. I did it once, and I don't know that it was worth it.
And
thank you,
Patty.
Things
here. He'd love to have it on his shelf. Michael Dale says it's beautiful.
Thank you.
And where did you go through for the printing? I've never done this on Drive-To. Do they give you like different options and print shops to choose from?
Yes, there were two options, I believe. Who did I go through? I made sure they were American based, but just because the tariff, who for all. Um, but I can't remember exactly who it was, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So,
well, then these are all people on X, so we can follow up there and talk about that more. Because again, one of the important things that I don't know that our community discusses enough is the business side of things. Not that I want to know exactly how many sales everybody's getting, but the things that work for everybody, I think everybody else needs to know. Like, did you clearly on this one there was no Kickstarter? You didn't think to do a Kickstarter for it? And with book 2, do you have any intention to go in that direction?
Nope, not at all. I did think about Kickstarter, but from the get-go, I didn't want to do it. And I'm not exactly sure why. Like, maybe, I don't know, performance anxiety, we'll call it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're taking on a lot of first time here. I mean, you're still, again, like we referenced before, you're still very early in your DM career. This is your first book, your first thing. It's the first thing you're putting on Drive-Thru, first thing you're coaching through this POD. You did 3 different versions of it. So that's a lot on your plate, and I can understand the inclination. I've kind of to not want to add one more kind of big thing to that, because it's not like Kickstarters are just kick it off and go. There's a lot of setup and coming up with stretch goals and doing updates frequently, and now at the same time, other streamers I follow, like Black Lodge Games, being a great for instance, they're big advocates for no, do the Kickstarter, because you're honestly just leaving money on the table if you don't. And put your content up on YouTube, Rumble School, and everything. We like their business ethics, but the audience is on YouTube, and YouTube is in fact trying very hard to get your video in front of the appropriate audience, because that's how they make ad revenue.
That's true.
So there's all different kinds of things to consider, and one of the things, though, the particularly tough nut to crack in any business seems to be marketing. It's rare for us, as somebody, I think it was James Raggy, said years ago, is like, this has got to be more than us group of 300 people all selling to one another. Like, we've somehow got to break containment and get in front of a larger audience. And that's the kind of stuff that I think we need to talk about as a cottage industry.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
Absolutely, actually. So I have Roku TV, and Roku is always advertising to advertise on Roku. And of course, I listen to a lot of the D&D actual play podcasts.
Okay.
Because, on my 9-to-5 job, I do a whole lot of driving. And there's only so many audiobooks that'll hold my interest. So I do a lot of D&D podcasts, actual play podcasts. And that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. I'm thinking, okay, how do I get an ad, like pre-record an ad and get it on the Pickaxe Network or the Glass Cannon Network? One of these specialized D&D networks. What's that going to cost me? How do I do that?
And I'm glad to hear you say that too, because Glass Cannon is superior to Critical Role. And
Absolutely.
No argument.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually going to mention that earlier when we were talking about, world lore, and when you were saying that you kind of filled in a blank spot of the map for your own homebrew. I was thinking, man, what I really, really liked was listening to the Glass Cannon, listening to the guys play Giant Slayer for Pathfinder 2, and the way the DM just made that module his. That was inspirational for me.
Yeah, and that was probably Troy running that one.
It was. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He does a great job. I really, I really, of all the live plays I've listened to, they're the ones that I enjoy the most. They're the most entertaining to me. But another thing too is if you subscribe to their channel, it's nearly impossible to keep up with all the content that they put out. They have so many different campaigns and shows going on at the same time. It's amazing.
It really is. Yeah, it's they're all actors. They all worked in showbiz. They all wanted to work in showbiz. So they took this actual play idea, they ran with it, they made it theirs, and they've done the work, and they're enjoying the fruits of that labor now. Good for them.
Yeah, and I love cheering that on. I love cheering on that success story because actual plays are notoriously difficult, in my opinion, to make appealing to an audience, like really make them entertaining and worth watching, and to make it a sustainable business model, like to really develop a business model around it. And, and that's one of the areas where I really do have a lot of respect for the Glass Cannon folks and what they do. It's an entertaining show, and they have built a good sustainable business out of it. And, again, no shade on Critical Role. It's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah. Another good one, if you're in the market for another one and you haven't heard of them, is High Rollers. So they're a 5e.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're a 5e actual play.
Got it.
Yeah, they're based out of England, and it's all homebrew. So
right.
Yeah,
so that's probably it. Is I'm not huge on live plays, and it's 5e, so I was like kind of like, if they played something else, I'd probably give it a shot. But
yeah. But
ironically, though, I don't like group live plays all that much. But for some reason, I really love solo actual plays, and all the people who put that on YouTube. So I watch a lot of those.
Yeah,
or listen to them.
That's your thing. That's your jam. Nothing wrong with that.
I need my special alone time.
Yeah, right.
So Patty was saying all his sales were from super chatting his friends during their streams and asking them to share the link. Well,
that's a good idea.
That's marketing. That is whatever it takes.
Yep. I like it.
No worries. I've heard people had success with Comics Wellspring. I have no idea what that even means.
That makes two of us.
Michael Dale, pokes Patty from across platforms. He deserves it, I'm sure. Why was it important to do the different versions rather than just the agnostic one? That is a clever and pertinent question. So thank you, Patty.
That is. So as I said earlier, I started off with the system agnostic, but I'm a no-name at this point. I'm just starting out. So I kind of wanted to, and this is probably going to sound worse than how I mean it, I kind of wanted to ride some coattails just to get traction, if nothing else. And Shadow Dark has performed exceptionally well.
Yeah,
more so.
No denying that.
Yeah. So if I can hitch my wagon to Shadow Dark long enough to get traction under me, then maybe I can focus on just system agnostic. But even then, with the third-party agreements that Shadow Dark and Castles and Crusades have, honestly, there's no reason for me to not put their logo on my books. It's not like I have to pay them royalties or anything like that. And they're not going to steal my ideas like certain other companies might.
Right. You were right. Yeah. And definitely respect both their integrities. And it's exactly like you said, both of them are directly benefited by more people publishing stuff for their games. They want more resources,
Yeah.
And heck, when it comes right down to it, both outfits, Trollord Games and Arcane Library, they both started out doing conventional D&D content. Troll Lord Games was doing OGL 3E modules before they came up with Castles and Crusades themselves, and then and I know Kelsey had quite a strong 5e following before she ever went into Shadow Dark, from what I understand.
As I understand it, didn't she actually work for Wizards of the Coast?
That I have never heard. I thought that she had developed a significant following developing 5e supplemental materials,
Okay.
but I had never heard that she actually worked for Wizards. I know some idiot accused her of having insider plants and giving her a leg up somehow, like Wizards of the Coast would
No.
bolster an indie game for some reason.
Yeah, there's no reason to.
You're right, Jack. I know. What is it? What am I right about? I need to double upload. Oh yes, that's the YouTube. Like I considered it myself. Like I watched Patty, and I considered going strictly to Rumble with the videos and stuff like that. But the audience is just not there. I mean,
It's not.
Even the stuff that's really worth seeing on Rumble, by and large, it's on YouTube already. There's not much of really great content on Rumble that you can't get elsewhere. And to be honest, YouTube is a lot easier to use and work with, whereas the Rumble app on my phone is crap. The Rumble app on my Roku is crap. The only Rumble that seems to work decently well is in the browser on my laptop. And that right there is limiting your audience, I think. But that's my opinion. Again, YouTube, for better or worse, has the audience capture, and we're all kind of beholden to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you got to cast your net where the fish are. For my actual play testing of Aoethera, I don't just put it on YouTube. I do put it on Rumble, and I also even put it on Spotify. And yeah, I can tell you, the fish are on YouTube. That's where you got to cast your net.
Got it. Have you considered expanding into like Facebook or any other social media platforms for additional exposure? I think Facebook has a fairly lively gaming community, or so it seems from the outside, because I'm not involved in it myself. But I know Scotty's much more involved in the Facebook communities than me, so he might have more to say on that than I do.
So I have considered it, but to be honest with you, just being on X as my sole social media and then uploading my play tests to those 3 other platforms, that already I don't really have time for because I'm trying to get the next book out and then the next book and then the next book. So yeah, starting up a whole nother social media.
When it comes right down to it, the candle only has 2 ends you can burn.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm somehow trying to figure out how to burn the middle too.
But speaking of burning candles, Patty says he spent his stream yesterday making an ad, and he reached out to Basic Expert Double D, Base Comic, for ad space. So awesome. That's the hustle, and that's the kind of stuff follow through on that, Patty, and please let me know how that stuff turns out. Turn that into X posts and stuff, and maybe even talk about it on your stream. So, share that knowledge. Because somewhere out there is that strategy that we're all going to find it to be able to crack that market, to get our, I want Aoethera in front of everybody who plays 5e or D&D 2024 or whatever, so that way they can make an informed choice. They can see that there's other stuff out there and be like, whoa, that looks way different than any D&D book I've seen.
Mm-hmm. Well, and speaking of that, actually, you just reminded me, now that these proofs are in, once I get them okayed, I'm going to have to order a few extra hard copies. Because there's 2 gaming stores about 3 gaming stores about an hour and a half one way down in Amarillo.
Okay.
There's 2 gaming stores, and then a third one about 3 hours the other way out in Colorado. One of the things I'm going to do to market is I'm going to take some of those physical copies into those stores and say, hey, do you want to buy these? Pay me this much. This is the MSRP.
Okay.
So I'm going to see if I can get into brick and mortar.
and they might even be amenable to consignment, where they'll they'll give you some shelf space and they'll pay for they'll keep a cut of what they sell.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and if I can just let's just say I go in with 3 copies and I cut my profit as much as I can so that I'm barely making anything, but the printing is paid for. And then they keep the rest as profit from the MSRP, then okay, cool, that's fine, because that's going to get my name out there. And maybe with the next book, the customer will go direct to DriveThruRPG, because in the back of every book, I do have, let's see, a little acknowledgments page, which, let's see, where is it? There it is.
I hope you spelled my name correctly.
Oh, shoot, I forgot.
The background. It's blurring that out. That's part of the background. We're just going to put an airship over that.
There we go. So down there at the bottom,
okay,
you can see it's got a little link. Find more Critheads Gaming Ltd. company products on DriveThruRPG at www.drivethrurpg.com. So excellent.
Okay. There's a little link there, and that'll be a hyperlink in the PDF, I'm betting.
Yep, absolutely. And of course, I got my special thanks and all my play testers. I've gone through quite a few. A lot of character deaths.
Good.
Couple of people quit after their character died.
I consider that you're doing it right. Players deserve less. Remember that.
My players have been good to me, so.
Okay, good. And Patty also follows up with, you just need to reach out. Worst they'll say is no. Next is that the space is several $1,000s. So, and that's one of those things. Like, well, if a space costs several $1,000s, how much exposure is that going to get you exactly?
Yeah, for several $1,000s, it better come with a TV commercial.
Well, for $2,000, if it got you $3,000 in sales, wouldn't it be worth it? And that's the whole point of marketing. The best marketing is going to be hella expensive, but will probably net you more than you spent on it. Or that's the whole point of it.
Yeah, that's the goal.
All right, I am front loading my offended. I'm working on my offended face here. Playing in too many RPG games dilutes the magic. It is much better for the brain to read and listen to multiple sources, but actively play in only a few. What's the sweet spot, Tag? You don't want to play every day. I agree. I probably couldn't keep up with the exhaustion there, but what's the right tempo? Once a week, twice a week? Now, I have a higher tolerance for solo game. I can do that nearly every day, but I can also break up into 15-minute chunks if I want.
Mm-hmm. See, I agree. As for me, I play only, honestly, the play tests. And that's every other week. And every session is 4 hours. So for a few people, I guess that's a marathon. But for me, that seems to be the sweet spot.
Yeah, I found that the older I get, the harder it is to go beyond 4 hours. I just get mentally tired, and I'm not as plugged into the game as I was, and that's whether I'm running or playing. So 4 hours is definitely that sweet spot for me. Whereas when I was younger, we would do all night marathons and stuff. Back in the high school days.
Yeah,
but I definitely agree on there are times where you definitely, I can even think back to those all-nighters we would pull as kids. In the wee hours of the morning, the quality of your play is honestly suffering, and it's grabastic tomfoolery with dice. I do tend to agree with that too. A short, high quality, because some people would consider 4 hours short. But a high quality session once a week or every other week is way better.
Yeah. I wish I had the time to play once a week, but every other week, that'll have to suffice.
And Comics Wellspring is one of the best softcover printers in the United States. I had the soft cover of Horde Wars Advanced. So I'm guessing, Todd, that is probably where you had them published or had the printing done.
I don't know. You said softcore, and it's like, ooh, Jack's mind's going somewhere else.
Oh, yeah. I'm a goblin, man. Our minds are born dirty, and they just get dirtier as you go. And this is another thing. Michael is right here. Just having the logo on either one, it gives you a certain amount of credibility. And like, I know I'm prone to that. I probably would not pick up something that says system agnostic, but I would pick up Castles and Crusades. And I'd be more like, even if that's not what I was playing, I would pick up Castles and Crusades because I know I can convert it easily.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of the nice thing. It's like, okay, I've got these two well-established logos with system agnostic right in the middle. So it's like, okay, I know these two brands, but I don't play them. But this looks good. So let's see what's in the system agnostic. So
nice. And again, Leah, I want to help you keep tabs of that and see how it does, because the few times I've heard people talk about that, it's system agnostic has been a hard sell for most gamers.
Yeah.
Okay, Comics Wellspring. Well, good to know. And again, to shout out Troll Lord Games, they're building their print factory. They're doing a fully upgraded print shop and trying to rehome even hardcover printing.
Yeah.
And coattail riding, I like that. These indie games deserve a large third-party habitat. I do agree with that too. That it is really it's great that this community is so supportive, and like the main struggle that we seem to have is breaking containment with any of the ideas or products, or any sort of game or product or book. You got to get it outside of our little group and get it in out into the wider community. That seems to be the real struggle, is how to get exposure and how to stand out, because I know I'm one. To go back to the conversation we were having about Kickstarter earlier, is I'm even one of those people that's like, oh, I mean, I love you guys, but I'm sick of hearing about another Kickstarter. I have Kickstarter fatigue. I've got a bunch of projects that I've already backed that I'm still waiting to hear on, and I don't even remember all the stuff that I backed. And some days something will just show up and it'll be, oh, hey, I forgot I did that.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of another thing. Like, okay, so with the coattail riding, a rising tide elevates all ships. So yeah, maybe one product will lead to another product, and eventually everybody just comes up at least a notch because of it. So good to go with that.
Agreed.
Now with Troll Lord Games, actually I have family out in Little Rock, so which is where they're based out of. So yeah, once that print shop opens up, I'm definitely gonna see if I can make my way out there to see family and take a tour.
Right.
Or worst case scenario,
business trip. Well, and yeah, I'm going out there for a business trip, and that way the whole thing is a tax write-off, and maybe you'll see your family while you're there.
Yeah, and you know what? My brother is one of my players, so
there you go.
So yeah, maybe he'll take the tour as well.
Patty's reiterating she was well known in the DMs Guild, but didn't actually work for Wizards. She wasn't a salaried employee.
Okay. All right. So I was misinformed on that, and I apologize. I don't like spreading bad information, but it does happen.
So now we talked about you started in high school with maybe third 3.5 edition. It sounded like you didn't really get to play much at the time, but you did really enjoy what you did, and you've picked up now in the last year and a half. And it sounded like you started to say that you started out playing and it was just you and your wife. It was a duo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
one-on-one.
Yeah,
Now, I
so
do that too with my wife, and I actually find that to be a very unique and lovely experience in its own way. What has that been like for you?
um, it it only lasted one session. Just a one-on-one only lasted one session. Yeah, she
It is
just could
tough.
not get into it. Yeah.
Right,
Um,
right.
Now,
I've heard that
when I
from.
put a group together and we started playing online, there was originally 8 in the party. She was one of them, and she played for about 14 or 15 sessions
Okay.
before she had quit. So that was
All
pretty
right.
good.
Well, this is me shaming her into rejoining the campaign. How dare you? He's out there all alone. He needs your support. Don't you love him?
I will make sure
Okay.
she sees this.
Oh, good. Yeah, make sure she sees this. That if anything ever spawns a short out of my videos, that should be that moment. Is you're bad and you just feel bad and you just playing this game. You know?
We'll
Hey.
make the short happen.
And out of other, since you're so new, I'm guessing that you haven't branched off into other genres. Now, we did talk a little bit earlier. You mentioned you played Alien recently.
Yeah, yeah. So with my my playtest channel, so that was
Okay.
kind of an interesting. I guess maybe I should kind of back this up. Um, so I started recording our sessions so that I don't have to take notes, every single day. But while I was at it, I was like, if we're going to put this up, let me put a little bit of production into it, try to figure that out, see if we can make it an actual play.
That's how they
Um,
hook you. They hook
yeah,
you with that, and then next thing you know, you're paying for an Adobe subscription.
exactly. Yeah. Um, so, God, where was I going with this? I'm sorry.
So, yeah, pardon me, I derailed that. You were starting to talk about the play test and doing production value when you started uploading that because it was originally you really started doing it just as a journal of your adventures rather than taking notes.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry though. The TBI just acted up. What was the original question? I apologize.
The original question was, huh, uh, that beats the hell out of me. I don't know. I'm just the host here. I'm just the interviewer. You just keep track of questions.
All
We're
right. Well,
flying by the seat of our pants here. Hey, yo, Trevor, Random Encounter Show. Glad to see you here. We need jaw harps. Jaw
well, going back to needing synthetics and expanded memory. Um,
Oh, yeah, that's what
uh,
it was. I had asked about aliens and other systems.
right, right. So, when I was looking at possibly making an actual play channel out of my play tests, I decided, well, my table decided that every 6 months we wanted to take a little bit of break and try something else. And so I was like, okay, well, I had just heard about the Aliens RPG, so we'll do that. Halloween's coming up. We'll do it around Halloween. There we go. That's our October special.
Excellent.
Um, and then I joined X and I came across Corpse King. So I was like, ooh, next Halloween, we're doing Corpse King. Well, next Halloween hasn't come yet, but that's the plan.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm stoked. But playing the Aliens RPG, I'm a huge, like I was telling you, I'm a huge Aliens nerd. Like,
Yeah, repeat for the audience exactly how big of a nerd.
okay, so this has been a process in the making for years. I finally found somebody that makes colonial marine uniforms, and they're over in the UK, but they were way out of my budget. It's like $400 for the complete set.
Wow. Yeah.
So I kept searching and kept searching and kept searching, and eventually I found a distributor out of South Carolina that screen prints custom camos, and one of their designers had the Colonial Marines camouflage. So I picked up a bolt of fabric. I want to say it was like 12 yards because I wasn't sure exactly how much I needed. And I made my own, bust out the sewing machine, made my own Colonial Marines BDUs, and then got online and found a company, Golden Armor, out of California, that makes reproduction Colonial Marine armor out of plastic. The originals were aluminum, so I got my hands on that, and then this all started off because my sons were coming out for Thanksgiving, and I wanted to take them airsofting, and I found a airsoft pulse rifle. So I picked that up, and it just snowballed from there. And now I even have the shoulder lamp, which is actually functioning. So like, I've got the full Colonial Marine setup. Like, I'm ready to go hunt bugs.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant.
Yeah, don't
Real
know how
men
well it's
sew,
gonna.
damn it.
That's right. I've got a picture of it on a mannequin on my phone here. If you'll excuse me for just a moment while I try to find it.
Yeah, send it to me on X and
Oh,
I'll try and post it up here.
I've posted it.
Okay.
So here I was without the armor. This stinking background. I might just turn that off entirely and just leave it off.
Well, we're not just showing things all the time. There we go. Okay. I dig it. I dig it.
Yeah. And let's see. Somewhere in here, I have the mannequin with the armor and everything. And of course, I did it true to the movies. I hand painted the camouflage on the armor. Let me see if
As
I
you
can
do.
find that. There's my brother wearing the armor.
Now, reminder, ladies and gentlemen, this is all by way of showing how dedicated a geek he is for the Aliens franchise.
Oh, absolutely.
We're making a point.
Shoot, where is that picture? I mean, I've got a picture of my brother wearing it, but oh, there it is. There we go.
Oh, nifty.
There we go. That's a better angle. Now you can see it.
Wow. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. I admit it.
So yeah, I went all out. What can I say?
That Stalker 5 jumping in there. Favorite moment of the week, Senator John Kennedy brought a picture of a chest burster to explain how people will look after eating radioactive shrimp from Walmart. Makes sense.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. That was just pure insanity, but I loved
radioactive shrimp. Like, there's moments, rare moments that I regret not paying that much attention to the news cycle. This is one of those moments because I feel like I really missed something.
Yeah. Yeah, I just caught a cursory glance and I was like, oh, shrimp's radioactive now. Next.
Yeah. Radioactive shrimp. They turn large and green when they're angry.
Yep. Kind of like the radioactive wasps. That was a thing for a day.
Aliens RPG. That was a long way around to get to this particular nugget. What was that? You were leading all this into setting up the major geekdom of Alien, the RPG, and the playtesting channel. So let's pick that up.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I tried to evolve my playtest into an actual play. And like you were saying earlier, that is so much work. And I'm not a very good editor, and I didn't have any kind of budget. And I'm not
I've seen
really...
your show. I can attest to that. Just kidding.
Yeah, no, seriously.
No,
but seriously though, like I've just started to figure out audio.
It's getting better all the time. I
appreciate that. I'm trying. And honestly, like I'm never satisfied with my performance. I go back and I listen, and some of them I'm fairly happy with the way I did telling the story, and some of them it's just like, man, I really phoned it in that day, didn't I?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So needless to say, the actual play wasn't really going anywhere. But I was messing around on X, and I realized just going through some of the posts that there is a hunger for adventure modules. So I was like, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Yeah, that's great, man. And I respect very much the people who not only get the desire to do it, but have the gumption to see it to the finish and get it across the finish line. And so, I applaud you. Congratulations on your first release. That is an accomplishment.
Thank you.
Like I said, man, relish that feeling. There is nothing like having a physical book in your hand that you did yourself, man. It's a magnificent experience, and it's the kind of win that I hope everybody has in their life.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's phenomenal. So
now, we talked about aliens. You seem to currently spend most of your time in the DM's chair. Is that a fair estimation?
Oh yeah, almost 100%, I would say.
Right. So other than the few, there we go. Yeah, let's get it in the picture.
Little product placement.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. So, but you mentioned that recently some of your players have stepped up. Like you got to play in Alien, not run it.
Not an Alien. I was supposed to. One of my players was going to step up in DM for Alien, and I was super excited about that. But unfortunately, he had some things come up, and he wasn't even able to make the sessions. No. I'm sorry. He did make the sessions. He last minute made the sessions. No big deal. But it was our next 6-month break after that. One of my players decided that he was going to homebrew his own world, which he called Vault Forge Reaches. And those are up on the channel as well, so you can watch our shenanigans on that. And I got to be a player, and that was a great time. Yeah, he did a really good job, because that was his first time DMing like ever as well. He was a brand new player when we started, and a year into it, and he was ready to try. And man, honestly,
that's great. And again, going by the word on the street, man, there's a DM shortage. Not enough people feel confident taking that on. So,
yeah.
So welcome to the ranks, man. Tell him I said congratulations.
Yeah, will do. I think he did a great job. Honestly, like I think he should go for, like, I don't want to lose him as a player. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But if he said, "Hey, I'm ready to go DM," Godspeed, brother. You did great.
Well, every DM should continue to play too. Like, I'm pulling for you to get more time in at the playing table.
Yeah, so that way
crossed. You can sit in the player's seat. You can learn just as much in the player's seat as you can in the DM seat.
Yeah. Well, and the best part is, if your players kind of beat you up when you're the DM, well, you get to turn the tables.
Yes. I'm going to come up with one of those kind of plans that you always come up with.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to circumvent your puzzle with a spell.
Yes. And oh my goodness, that's one of the. It's, of course, I can look back on it and laugh. At the time, it was infuriating, but it's one of those, I forgot he had like a pass wall on a scroll in his backpack, and he just circumvented everything I spent all week planning. You son of a bitch!
That happened to me.
Yes. Yeah.
Cradle of the Gods. The video is up on the channel, and Cradle of the Gods. You'll have the chance to explore that yourselves in book 2. But yeah, Mort, actually, our mutual friend.
Okay.
I had a slide puzzle, and this is where the playtest is invaluable. The slide puzzle was a little too big, a little too complex. So for the edition that will ship in book 2, it's going to be a little bit smaller, a little bit simpler, but still should be challenging enough. And Mort completely circumvented it by casting Erupting Earth in, unknowingly, just the right spot, revealing the stairs to go down to the forge.
So had he done it anywhere else, it would have revealed no stairs and given no clues.
Exactly. And he did it because there were statues clustered around a sarcophagus. And once this puzzle starts, every minute on the minute, whether you're in a fight or not, another statue animates. So he was just thinking, destroy as many statues as he can. He had no idea he was dropping the spell right on where the stairs were.
Wow. That's a great coincidence.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was horrible because I put so much work into it, but it was beautiful.
Right. And it just goes right by the wayside. Yep, I've been there before.
Yep.
And I think I've told this war story before, but it's one of my favorites, so I'll recap it real quick. I had a friend who was telling me about a campaign. He designed this really long-term, intricate city campaign, and he wanted all the action in the city, and it was going to be about guilds and intrigue, and who knows, right? So for the setting, he decided he was going to put this city inside of a dormant volcano with sheer cliffs going up 1,000 feet. So it's this city surrounded by impassable cliffs on all sides, just to make sure that the players don't leave the city. They stay in the city and figure out the thing. So he plans all that out, has his first session. The first thing the players do is figure out a way to climb his unscalable walls and get out of the city into the rest of the world that he's not even thought of. So that's one of my favorite DMing stories, and that is exactly the DM experience in a nutshell. Whatever, the one time I tried to run Ravenloft as a kid, around the time it was first published back in the 80s, I sat down and did the intro, and everybody had picked out pre-gen characters, and we were starting the intro, and it's basically, you gotta go over there to the castle, and one of the players was just, I'm not doing it. What do you mean you're not doing it? I'm not going there. And you can't make me? I have no reason why I would do that. Why should my character want to go risk his life for a bunch of people he doesn't care about? We're just going the other way. And all the other players went with him. Mm-hmm. So throw that module over my shoulder. So it was shortly after that I stopped using modules altogether.
Fair.
Not entirely. Actually, I find would you consider this to be an events-based module where there's a specific chain of events that have to happen in a specific order and the players interact with them? Or is it more setting-based where it's a sandbox location that they get to explore as they see fit?
So, the events of Aoethera Cataclysm is not sandbox. This is very much event based, but it's event based to lead you into the sandbox. As I was trying to explain earlier, after Cataclysm, we're going to be in season 1. And I'm going to pump out as many smaller adventure modules as I can. That's only going to be a few chapters, as opposed to after book 2, we're looking at about 24 chapters. Okay. So there will be multiple different adventures that you can do or not do in season 1. And that's where it becomes sandbox. But since Aoethera is this new world to everyone but me, the only way that I can really introduce it to you and give you a feeling of investment in it is with an events-based module up front.
So you need the story in order to generate the buy-in, the investment on the player's parts.
Exactly. Yep.
Now, one of the common criticisms of events-based adventures is that the actions and decisions the players make as a consequence can't really affect the events as they're going to unfold. Is that something that you said, screw it, that's the way it's going to be? Or have you tried to address that in some way?
Oh, I have absolutely addressed that. Aoethera is 100% player driven. There are choices, there are choices in book 1 that absolutely affect not just later parts of book 1, but also book 2 and thereafter as well. So, without giving, well, all right, we'll give a little bit away. One of the starting areas is a little town called Aspenshire, and they're having some issues. They've got bandits attacking them from one side and cybernetic animals shutting down trade routes on the other side. In order for you to progress in the story, you do have to take care of the cybernetic animals. You don't have to take care of the bandits. But if you don't take care of the bandits, Aspenshire gets wiped off the map.
Oh. Did your playtest group take care of the bandits?
No, they did not. So this...
Somehow I knew it.
Oh, this is Aspenshire if you take care of the bandits. This is Aspenshire if you don't.
Well done. Well done. I don't see that taken into account often, because it does lead to bloat. Because once you're in at the first place, if they can make a decision that has a meaningful impact, then there's basically 2 different paths I have to decide from there.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason why this book is 102 pages. It does suffer a little bit, but I've streamlined that as much as I possibly can. That's not the only decision point in this book. Like, they are all throughout the book.
Of course, you can't give out the spoilers too much. That one is a pretty good spoiler. So anybody who listens to this show and then plays this module is going to know. Hey, what do you call that town? I think we gotta save that town. We gotta get those bandits.
Yep.
And again, if we don't get the bandits, remember, don't leave anything you value here.
Exactly. Yeah. Not that you'll have much of value anyway. The start of this book is pretty rough. It's gonna hurt. Just straight out the gate, there will be pain.
Well, I think that is important to setting the mood and tone of the entirety of the adventure,
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
So, and it's a delicate balance how to inflict sufficient pain without the requisite TPK, because that just kind of disrupts the flow of things in my experience.
It does, but at the same time, we're also talking classic gaming here. So, I mean, I don't consider these OSR, but the design aspect of not every fight is fair is in this book.
Good. I'm glad to see that represented.
I did try to balance it a little, but not too much. Like, when you go to fight a cybernetic wolf, it might tear your throat out. Like, it could happen.
Yeah. It sounds plausible. It does. I can buy into that.
Yeah.
Don't have to do much to sell that to me.
Right. Speaking of, I'm mentioning these cybernetic animals. There are brand new monsters in this book. So, like this very first one, the Abyssal Octarch.
Octarch. Okay.
The brand new monster. Yep.
I see
Let's
that.
see. Down here, we got ourselves a cybernetic bear.
Cyber.
Yep. Let's see. Next page, we got a cybernetic wolf I can show you. So,
What's the basis of cybernetics in the world? Is this digital electronics like we're used to, or is this steam and diesel fueled?
so a little bit of both.
Okay.
For the animals, they're pretty much modern day electronics. So we'll get into a little bit of lore with this. 150 years ago, in the world of Aoethera, there was basically a world war. It was a great war. It was the humans and dwarves versus the elves and orcs. What had happened is the new continent of Aethel was recently discovered. Now, orcs had already come from the north and settled western Aethel, while the elves had moved in from the east and were settling eastern Aethel. The humans moved up from the south. The king at the time, King Bisdain, wanted all of Aethel for himself and for the humans. So he pushed the orcs out, laid siege to the elven town of Malvik, and while this siege was going on, the elves were looking for any edge that they could get on the humans. And what they wound up doing is creating essentially a new race, a playable race that we call the Sentinels. They would take dead, well, not dead, they would take grievously wounded or dying elven soldiers and transplant their brain into these sentinel bodies and give them a new lease on life. And
Oh, right. Yeah.
they sent them
I'm
out to
sure they're
battle.
thrilled.
Well, it started off voluntary.
It
So
was voluntary to begin with.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. So the Sentinels went and broke the siege of Malvik and drove the humans back. But since they were basically prototypes, a couple of them got captured in that effort. The humans dragged those malfunctioning Sentinels back, reverse engineered them, and created Sentinels of their own. Then came back with a vengeance and laid another siege to Malvik. But the last siege lasted 20 years. They didn't want it to last another 20 years. So they got a hold of the dwarves, made an alliance with them, brought them in on it, basically promised them Eastern Othelis, which is the main human continent.
Okay.
Which I can actually show you the map. That might make more sense if I do. So they promised the dwarves some land in exchange for their assistance.
And thereby we get a teaser of the further expansions in the world of Aoethera, because there's a bunch of continents with stuff to fill up.
Yep. So now this map I've intentionally kept somewhat blank. So it's got the capital cities, as you can see, and major landmarks like major forests, major mountains, the Starfall Scars. Fun place. Definitely go summer in the Starfall Scars. But when you play the book,
you've put serious work into your campaign setting when you can list the choice vacation spots.
Well, and that was horrible sarcasm. If you go to the Starfall Scars, trauma and horror awaits.
Well, it sounds like a vacation to me. I went to Disney World and the same thing happened.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So anyway, after the war, the Sentinel program ends up outlawed, right? So, and those Sentinels were diesel and steam.
Okay.
So those are your crude machines. Well, now fast forward to the events of Aoethera Cataclysm. It's 150 years later. These cybernetic animals are starting to crop up in the bramblewoods around Aspenshire. And they're fully modern. So they're a little more computer chip, Magitech, that kind
Okay.
of deal.
Okay.
So
I can dig that.
yep.
Neat. Have you had to delve into any sort of rules that like firearms or other aspects of modern technology that aren't covered in the rule set as explicitly?
As a matter of fact, yes, you can't have steampunk without guns. Now, for my playtests, what I originally envisioned was essentially revolvers, a revolver pistol and a
Okay.
revolver rifle. And what I have discovered is that very quickly gets overpowering. uh, so
Yeah.
so I
And
had to dial it back, and I dialed it back to essentially rudimentary muzzle loaders. So it takes,
okay.
yeah. So in an action economy of one, it takes your turn to reload. But to make up for it, they are still little powerhouses. Um, let's see.
Yeah,
Page.
I find it pretty challenging to accurately represent the lethality of firearms.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, it's very hard because you don't want to make them weak, but you also don't want to make them game breaking. And
Correct. And well, and though you ask yourself, they were kind of historically speaking game breaking, weren't they? Maybe the
they
game breaking is a feature, not a bug.
right, no, exactly right. So this table right here, probably a little bit blurry, but
Firearms of Oaethera.
huh. And as you can see, so the pistol does 1d10
Got
in
it.
a in like Shadow Dark or Castles and Crusades. 1d10 is a lot of damage. That's a
It
hard
is.
hit.
It
Uh,
is.
and then the rifle's 1d12. And as you can see, they've got a decent range on them too. But
Right. Right.
they weigh a lot. They take up a lot of gear slots.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So
And
this is the
like
Castles
you're
and
showing there, it
Crusades.
takes 2 rounds to reload the rifle. So yeah, it's a
Hmm.
D12, but you get one every 3 rounds. So
Yep.
that's the kind of thing. Like in my opinion, that's actually underpowered for what firearms represent in real life. I think they're in keeping with the balanced traditions, like you said, the conventions of the game. But that's one of the reasons I consider it such a tough thing because on we know that historically it doesn't matter how great you were. You can be a ninth level lord on the battlefield, and one stray bullet is going to take you down. I
Oh,
guess it's the
absolutely.
same. It's the same problems that the system has always had. It's not meant to be a necessarily a realistic simulation of things. But when you
Right.
start introducing modern technology and modern firearms, that's always one of the peak considerations that come to my mind is
Hmm.
how do you portray this realistically? Because there's a real good reason why we don't carry swords around anymore or wear armor.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
they were still effective, we'd still be using them.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And if you go and you watch my our playtest sessions, like right now, oh, one of my players, he just got his legendary weapon, and it's a man portable Gatling gun. So it is stupid overpowered, but at the same time, we're also playing it in 5e, where hit point bloat is ridiculous.
Right. So
Eh,
ridiculous powerful weapons do not disbalance things like they would otherwise.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. A few bad rolls disbalance things far more than any weapon could do in 5e. So,
Wow. That's great consideration. Okay, we're at the 2 minute mark here, Crit. So any wrap up thoughts in conclusion? What your overall philosophy on life and gaming, marriage tips, um,
oh, marriage tips.
stock
I'm not the one
advice?
to give marriage tips,
Okay,
but
good.
other than find your kind of crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, hey man, don't knock the value of that advice.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everybody's a little bit crazy. Find a compatible crazy. But,
That is brilliant. That is brilliant, man. Oh,
yeah.
Crit, it has been a real pleasure having you on here, man. I really appreciate you coming on and talking about this, and I'm excited to welcome you not only as a new DM to this hobby, but as a new publisher, a new indie publisher.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I greatly appreciate the opportunity to come on your channel and shill for myself and and fill you in and fill your audience in on Aoethera. And you know, I'm really looking forward to just building this world out and just offering more and doing more. You guys, you can always reach me on X at Critheads Gaming. And yeah, if you've got suggestions, if something crazy happens in your game, in your version of Aoethera, let me know about it. It might end up canon.
Ah! Oh, yeah. Oh,
Just
yeah.
saying.
Challenge accepted. All right. And thank you, Mr. Dale. We're going to go ahead and wrap this stream up here. This has been John with Jack. I'm Jack. This is Tim, Critheads Gaming. Join us next week, Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Be there and be square. See you later, folks.